Hey quilters, welcome to AccuQuilt Live. I'm Pam Heller, AccuQuilt's cutting expert. Thanks for joining us today. It's a beautiful day in Omaha, Nebraska. Gonna be 75 this afternoon. Emily's in the house. How are you, my friend?
I am great.
Are you excited for that warm weather?
Yes, I'm so looking forward to going out and just having a walk after work.
Yeah. Okay, now Emily has a fun little show and tell. Do you want to show?
Yes, I'm so excited. After long last, after getting
I've been waiting. So Emily's
quilted
process of
and
becoming a quilter, she chose the tumbler die. We went got some fabric.
it's all kind of.
Now it is all quilted and bound.
It is, and I excuse if you can see any cat hair. I have to excuse it because Marley has already adopted this quilt as his own.
There you go.
He's very happy to have it, and I am too. It's so comfy and cuddly, and I was just so excited to pick out that beautiful stitching, and
Yes.
it was just a blast. I'm so excited.
And our good friend Christina quilted it for you, did she not?
She did, and she even taught me how to bind myself, which was so sweet of her.
She did. So Emily, let's give her a big hand for her first project all being done. Look at that.
Thank you.
Do you have any UFOs?
Absolutely.
See, that's the best. All right, where is everyone watching from today? Carolyn is watching from Wisconsin. She says hi to Pam and Emily. Oh, and Patty says it's sunny in Ohio. I feel like it's sunny so many places right now.
Absolutely.
Oh, Logan, Utah is cloudy. Sorry about that, Miss Kenna. All right, here are the news projects from our countdown video. Kicking things off, we have Anna C. with this butterfly quilt that she made with her 16-year-old daughter. So this is the butterfly die from Adidas Sitar. And I think it's so beautiful because the butterflies can be different colors and the tops can be different than the bottoms. And I just think it's fabulous. She did it with her daughter.
So pretty.
Look how pretty that is. Next up, Lily made this quilt for 4-H. Good job, Lily.
Wow.
We should give her a big round of applause.
Absolutely.
Good job. I love that we have quilters in 4-H. We have a group here in Omaha that do quilting with 4-H. Finally, here is Susan S. with her aquatic sea life medley wall hanging. Ooh. Isn't that so pretty?
So cool. They look like little tiny fish tanks.
Oh, yeah, they do. Like little, yes, you're right. And do you know what the other die is that's in there?
That glorified 9-patch.
Glorified 9-patch. And I love that it's scrappy. All right, quilters, today we are continuing our square dance with our little country music and our little squares that we released yesterday. Today is all about the new Go Square dies. 4 of them we released yesterday. They come in 4 finished sizes, 5, 7, 9, and 10. And it was a great event. We had tons and tons of inspiration and a little bit of country music when we had the video. So here is my photo of the day. All right, so this is my son Mason, who's living in LA, but last year he and I went to Memphis, and this was a picture taken in Sun Studios, so you'll notice some famous people in that picture. So the question of the day is, what kind of music do you like to listen to? Obviously, when we're doing a square dance, we're listening to country music, but Emily, what kind of music do you like to listen to?
Oh gosh, when I'm quilting,
Just in general or quilting, whenever.
I love just the golden oldies. Like James Taylor is one of my favorite just to listen to when I'm just just cooking just or hanging out. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I'm a big top 40. When I'm in the car and those kind of things, which is kind of fun. So in the comment section today, tell us what kind of music do you listen to. Quilters, have you seen the AccuQuilt March die to try? It is the Go Grandmother's Fan die. It's an AccuQuilt exclusive, and it's only available from AccuQuilt.com and only till the end of March. And last week we made blocks with it, and it is such an easy, beautiful block to put together. So just a really great die. So make sure you get one before the end of March. Today is Wednesday, so we have a promo for you. The code is SAVE35, S-A-V-E 35, to save 35% off dies and bundles. Now, just because it's Wednesday, we want to throw a little extra something in there. If you spend more than $100, we're going to take off an extra 10% and give you free shipping if you live in the contiguous U.S. No code required. So once your cart gets above $100, we'll just take off that 10% and give you free shipping. And wait, there's more. Double reward points, which are great to use for future purchases. Okay? All right, today I'm giving away one of our square dies. Today I'm gonna use the 9-inch finished square die for the project that we're doing here, but we're gonna give one away to the person they get to choose which size they want to have. So be sure and register for future events on the AccuQuilt event page for your chance to win. By registering, you'll receive event emails. That way you're never gonna miss an exciting tutorial. And Emily's gonna announce the winner of our registered viewer at the end of the show, and that person gets to choose. Are they gonna get a 5, 7, 9, or 10-inch square die? I'm excited. All right, it's spring, hallelujah. So be sure to spring into quilting with our newest sweepstakes. It is Spring into Quilting, and you can register for any of our live events to be entered for weekly drawings. So if you watch a Tuesday, if you register for a Tuesday event or a Wednesday event or special events, plus you can earn the chance to win $500 in AccuQuilt reward points. Wow. The sweepstake runs from March 22nd, which is Tuesday. Is that right, guys? March 22nd?
That is Tuesday.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
Through April 26th. All right, so make sure you register. Okay, so today we're gonna make blocks from the Go Starburst Throw Quilt. And it is the quilt that hangs behind Emily. It's a free pattern at AccuQuilt.com. So Emily, while we look at you, can you show us, we're gonna make the Starburst block, but we're gonna use the 9-inch square as actually a setting square. So can you show them where the square is?
Right here.
Right there in that negative space. So look at how cool that is, because with all of that open space, you can really see the details of the quilting, which I think is so beautiful.
Yeah.
So not only do the squares allow you to turn the blocks on point and they become setting squares, but it gives you lots of space to do some quilting.
Absolutely.
All right. All right, to make this block, so here's our finished block. To make this block, you are going to use 3, are we good? Can you go back for just a second? Oh, there we go. That's all right. You're gonna need 3 units to make this block. You're gonna need square in a square, our signature block, and our triangle in a square. And to make these units, you will need the 6-inch cube and both companions, both angles and corners. Now, quilters, we have dozens of videos on our Facebook and YouTube channels dedicated to the cube system. So if you've never used our cube system, be sure and check them out if you have any questions. And I have already pulled the dies that I need to make our project. And now that I say that, I'm gonna pull one more. I just realized today we were talking, so it's okay. All right, Emily, while I pull one more die, will you tell us what kind of music folks are listening to?
Absolutely, and actually I had a quick question from Annette about my tumbler quilt. So, and you can kind of help me answer this, Pam, because she's asking if I used yardage or pre-cuts for the tumbler quilt, and didn't we use the cut and flip method?
We did.
I remember you pre-cut it down to, I think it was like a 6-inch, and then we did a cut and flip method where, you know, so that we got the very most out of that fabric.
That's exactly right.
So, okay, perfect. And then let's see what people are saying.
Yes, and I'm looking for die number 5, which is right here.
So Marla says she likes classic country.
Oh, there you go.
Great music choice right there. Charlotte is also country music all the way.
I love
all the way. This is so on theme right now too with our square dance.
Our little square dance.
And absolutely.
I know, for a hot minute there I couldn't find my die, but now I found it. Okay. All right, so the thing to remember about the cube system is it's based on a 2x2 grid or a 4-patch. We're using the 6-inch cube. So if we did that 2x2 grid or a 4-patch, our block would finish to 6 inches. But this pattern right here, this is a 3x3 grid or a 9-patch. So 3 columns, 3 rows, or a 9-patch. So this block will actually finish to 9 inches, and that's why we're using the 9-inch finished square for our project.
Sure.
So think about that. So when you're looking at patterns, is it a 3x3 grid? Is it a 2x2 grid? Because that's going to change the size of your block. Okay? All right, so now that I have all of my dies, let's start by laying down some fabric and cutting our square in a square block, and then we'll go on to signature. So square in a square is the center block here. All right, so you're going to need 2 dies. You're going to need shape number 6, and you're going to need shape number 5. So I have my shape number 6. And just give me a second here. I'm going to cut my fabric down so I can use it here. There we go. Shape number 6 and shape number 5. And do you know the difference, Emily, between a square and a square and point? Because shape number 6 is actually a square on point.
It is. And I always get a little bit confused with the difference, but I do know that the way that it lays out on the die, doesn't it have something to do with the grain of fabric in order to cut correctly so that you're sewing it right together?
It does, and we always want to make sure we can find our grain. But this actually, this block is meant, this square is meant to stand on its tippy toes, just like this. Okay, so here it is in the block. Normally squares just lay flat, okay?
Right.
But this one goes on tippy toes. So as we run it through the cutter, we're going to make sure that we have the lengthwise grain traveling back and forth through the die board, okay? And so we're going to cut that, and then we're going to need 4 of our little half square triangles, which are shape number 5.
Right.
Okay? So I am going to lay this here. I'm going to do this. Perfect. Because then I'm going to use the rest for my triangle and a square.
Sure.
Now, today we have our Go Big is on sale. Emily, it's part of our March Machine Madness.
Yeah, it sure is. We actually, and some of the bundles are also on sale, which is really great. So like if you were getting you can save $150 on the Go Big Electric, which comes down to $549. Or heck, if you were looking for like the 9-inch block starter pack, which has that 9-inch cube and the 2.5-inch strip die and the cutting ruler, $980.86.
Excellent.
It's over $1,000 value, so it's a really great,
That's
great
wonderful.
value. Yeah.
So think about that today, quilters. If you're looking to upgrade to that Go Big, if you're, you know, been thinking about it for a while, $150 off during our March Madness is great.
Yeah.
March Machine Madness. Okay, so I'm going to use my Go Big today, which means I can run 2 dies through in one pass through the cutter.
So great.
All right, give it some love. Slide, don't lift. Okay, so now I'm going to lay my pieces out over here because we're going to just chain piece when we're just putting our block together. Okay, so look at how perfect this came out. Remember, with all of our geometric shapes, we have that 1/4-inch seam allowance built in. We've cut off the dog ears, so from this point here to this point here is that perfect 1/4-inch seam. All right, so I'm going to lay these down. All right, now I'm going to show you how we're going to cut signature block, which, again, I just think, I can't even imagine trying to cut these shapes with like a rotary cutter or a ruler.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, it's just not going to work. Okay, so here is our signature block. And again, we're going to need those half square triangles to go on the outside of this, and I'm going to show you where they lay. Now, the signature block, it's at an angle, so as I run it through the cutter, it's going to be okay because this is that lengthwise grain, and that's what we want to have go through the cutter.
Sure.
All right, and then I have some white. I just am all sorts of using my scraps up here today. So.
Do you remember the name of the flowery material you've been using for that on point piece that you've?
No, this was fabric that I just bought at the quilt shop, and I'm just loving it.
Inquiring minds wanted to know.
Oh, do they?
Yes.
You know what? I can look. I can look. Okay. So now I'm going to just. I'm not worried about my little tails that are hanging off here.
Sure.
Because it's only going to cut where there's fabric and a mat, which is great. Okay, so I can run it through the cutter and it's not going to worry about this. I didn't necessarily want to cut down my big scrap of white here. That way I'm just cutting where the shape is.
Absolutely.
All right, so now we're going to cut signature blocks. And Emily, if you remind me, I have some over here. When I'm all done, I can maybe look at it and see.
Perfect, yeah.
I know, it's super cute fabric, isn't it?
It really is, yeah, so much fun.
Okay. There's my signature
Ooh, and Marlene
block.
is wondering, the angle dies and the corner dies that are in those, you know, the companion sets, are they
Yes.
different from the setting triangle dies?
Yes. Yes. Setting triangles, we'll talk about those today, go on the outside of your quilt. So these are the shapes from the companion set corners. So we got the signature block. And then from angles, we're gonna get, this is the center triangle, and then these are the triangle and square sides.
Sure.
Okay? All right, so before we cut these, just a reminder to join me this Friday, March 18th, excuse me, at 12 noon Central Time, as we go on our first date with Bob. We're gonna give you an in-depth look at 10 of your favorite Bob dies. This is a special event, which is kind of fun. Be sure and register in the link below for the chance to win prizes. Okay, so this week we get an extra show, which is fun. Now we're gonna cut triangle in a square, all right? So the first thing you need to remember is that when you're doing the triangle in a square sides, it's hard because I have solid fabric here, but basically you wanna fan fold it back and forth so that you get a left and a right side. So if we had a patterned here, we'd want to fan fold back and forth in equal numbers to get a left and a right. And I'm going to cut this first because then I'm going to show you how I'm going to cut this center triangle, which is kind of a slick trick. All right, here we go. All right, Emily, while I'm cutting, tell us what kind of music people listen to today.
Absolutely, and we actually have some more really good questions.
Well, ask questions
too.
first.
So Deb's actually wondering, so when you laid the fabric out on the signature block, she's wondering why you laid the fabric on the bias, since she's wondering if there would be any stretch for the signature block.
Yeah, so the signature block, this was the lengthwise grain.
Gotcha.
And it's hard on the signature block because it's at an angle. So I'm just gonna lay it on the lengthwise grain and it's gonna cut.
Perfect.
Yeah, this one, it would have been difficult to have turned it sideways. It would have had to have been on a bigger die.
Sure. Okay.
So that's a great question.
That makes total sense.
Okay, so here's our halves for our triangle and square. So now I'm gonna show you the super cool method. Emily knows about this method. It is the cut or stack and flip method.
Yes.
And this
Eileen's
is what
actually
you use to do your tumblers, right?
Yeah, and Eileen actually, that's perfect timing because Eileen said, what do you mean by cut and flip, Emily? So here we go.
Here we go. All right, so what I've done is I want to take my triangle, and you want to make sure you have that lengthwise grain, right, that goes back and forth. Now, if I just took my fabric and laid it like this and just fan folded it, you're going to waste all the fabric that goes around this triangle. So I'm going to show you the super cool method. So you can do always up to 6 layers. So I actually have 4 here. And what I did was I measured from here to here, added 1/4 inch on either side, and just rough cut my strips. And again, I love this block because I had a lot of scraps that I could use to make I often do projects with white, and so there were lots of chunks of white that I could make pieces out of, all right?
Sure.
So now I'm gonna run it through the cutter. And this works for triangles, this works for tumblers. This is a great method, okay? So now I've cut my 4 triangles. Now watch this. Now I'm gonna take this whole stack of fabric and I'm gonna flip it. Just like this. And I wanna make sure that this line is just right here, okay? Because now I still have the lengthwise grain, but now I'm not wasting any fabric. So we're gonna run it through again, and then I'll show you one more time. So if you're doing triangles, standalone triangles like these, or tumblers, either our 6-inch tumbler or 4-inch tumblers, this is how you do it, okay? Yes, just for you, Joe. Okay, and then we're gonna go like this. So see how I'm not wasting any fabric? It's just cutting right next to each other. Yeah. Now, Emily, did you use no, you used yardage for yours.
Yes.
Right, so you did the stack and flip method.
The stack and flip, exactly. Yeah, which worked so well, and it felt a lot better not to be, just like you said, instead of fan folding it, you save so much fabric because of that.
Yeah. Okay, so now we have cut all of our shapes. So now in a minute we can start to sew, which is really the best part.
Pam,
all right, yes.
But we are wondering in the comments, why the label was not at the belly.
Yeah, so I wondered who was going to ask that. Typically, I tell you to take the label of the die and put it at your belly and the lengthwise grain, right?
Sure.
And that the way you can remember it is that that lengthwise grain is high and tight. It has a good, it doesn't have a lot of stretch. So your belly is high and tight. Just go with it, okay? But it is more important to have the lengthwise grain travel through the die, or across the die through the cutter, than it is to have the label at your belly. So when I do this method, when I'm doing stack and flip, it doesn't matter if it's the tumblers or triangles, I'm always gonna turn it like this and do that stack and flip method.
Sure.
Okay? So always that lengthwise grain, super important. But good catch, whoever caught that. Good job. Okay.
Love it.
All right. Now, the question people ask all the time is, why is an AccuQuilt fabric cutter better than rotary cutting? So think about how difficult it would be to cut all these shapes by hand, especially this triangle in a square or signature block, right? Okay. And don't forget today's promo, 35% off dies and bundles, save 35. Plus, if you spend $100 or more, we're going to take an extra 10% off and give you free shipping if you live in the contiguous U.S. and double reward points.
Yep.
So Emily, what are some, so we're using the 9-inch square today, 9-inch finished. So what kind of dies would go with that? Like we have so many bobs that would go with that.
So we do. So in addition to the 9-inch setting triangles, which would be $71.49 with that discount,
Right.
We have dies such as the Starry Path, which finishes at 9 inches. We have the Glorified 9 patch, which we saw in that fabulous project at the beginning of the show.
Oh, yes.
We have the cross canoes as well, which would qualify.
Oh, that one's great. That one's Erica's favorite.
That one's
She
Erica's,
loves cross
I know,
canoes.
right? We had to shout out cross canoes
Yes.
for Erica.
That's for Erica.
And then also, like, if you're getting inspired for, you know, going into springtime, like, why not the spring medley?
Oh, there you go. And we actually have a medley bundle, right, of all the holidays. It has like bunnies and
We
stars and
do.
stuff.
Yes, the holiday medley
I
die
bet it doesn't
bundle.
have stars, but I bet it has bunnies and Halloween and winter and something.
Yep, the spring, summer, fall, and holiday medley.
Look at me knowing some stuff.
You got it.
There we go. So all of those are part of that Save 35 today. And if your cart is pretty close, you know, if you have like $80 in your cart, just get another die. We're going to give you 10% off and ship it to you free.
Absolutely.
All right. So don't forget, I'm going to give away one of our square dies to a lucky registered viewer. So I'm using the 9-inch finished square die today, but our viewer gets to choose what size they want. So be sure and register for future events for the chance to win. All right, now that we have cut all of our pieces, we're going to chain piece for days. So let's start with the square in the square, and then we can move on here to our signature block. Okay, so square in a square is super easy. What you want to do is you're just going to start on either side, and you can see where we cut off those dog ears. And we're going to do both sides. We're going to press them away, and then I'll do my signature block. I'll do these two together, okay? All right, Miss Emily, while I'm sewing, because we do that here, tell us what kind of music. Oh, do we have questions, first of all?
We do.
Okay, I can answer questions and sew.
And it's perfect because it's about the square on point. So how is the square from the cube different from the square on point? Can you use the same square cut and just put it on point?
No, because the math is wrong. The square on point, somebody, not me, did the math. And to do the math so that the half square triangles go around it.
Gotcha.
So it's meant to live on point.
Gotcha.
Okay, so now I'm going to do signature block, right?
Yes.
Here we go. So I'm just going to sew these two blocks together, and I'm just going to do one side signature block. You want to make sure it goes to the long side. Sometimes quilters, I don't know what happens, but people think it goes on the side, but it's the long side.
Love it.
Yeah, square and point is one of those. If you look it up, Emily, in like the description on the cube.
Yeah.
Oh, here. I probably have one right here. Okay, this square on point measures 2 5/8 inches. Okay, go home and cut one of those. Okay, you're never gonna cut it straight, first of all. But yeah, so it's meant to live on point.
Perfect.
Okay.
Oh, this is so sweet. Jeanette is asking for an update on Reba.
Oh yes, talk about Reba. Reba's at the doctor's, but she's coming home today.
Yeah, she's coming home today. So I have no idea what was all done. I am just excited. It's going to be kind of a fun surprise because she's been at the doctor getting all checked up and stuff like that. So
There she goes.
I'm just so excited to pick her up today.
Reba is at the Celtic Quilter, which is our local signature retailer. And we love them. And guess what? On Thursday, because it's St. Patrick's Day and they're the Celtic Quilter, they're having a special grunge on sale. I'm going to be there buying all the grunge.
I need grunge. That's
I'm
perfect.
really excited about that. Okay, so now I'm just adding to the sides. So here I have my little square in a square, okay? I'm going to press away. And the reason is that way it just all lines up beautifully. Get your little shovel iron and a mat if you don't have one yet today. They're great.
Yeah, they really are.
All right, so here we go. And now we're going to do the other side. Some of you are going to say to me, Pam Heller, this isn't right, but it is because look how perfect it lines up. There's just awesome. Yeah. I think that that's the thing that is the most important to me at AccuQuilt. Not only does it cut fast, because I can't imagine sitting around cutting shapes all day, but it is also accurate every single time.
Yeah.
Okay, and here we go. I'm going to just do this one, do the other side.
It's so satisfying when you press them out and there's no dog ears, there's no nothing, it's just those crisp lines.
Right. And speaking of quilts, so Emily got hers back from Christina last weekend, and Christina was just here dropping off mine that she quilted.
It's so good.
And it's a sampler quilt. It's absolutely beautiful. I'll show it to you next week because it needs a striped binding. All my bindings this year are striped. All right, so now I'm going to press away again. Just press towards that outer half square triangle. Look at how beautiful this comes together.
I love it.
Gotta love it. There you go.
And this is so much fun, Pam. In the comments, we've got a lot of folks who are definitely on the same page about what they like to listen to.
Oh, tell us, because I think this is fun.
And so Rhonda loves jazz, as does Barbara. She says country's my favorite, but also like jazz and some rock.
Oh, there you go.
Patricia.
Jazz. I never, ever listened to jazz. I don't know.
I know. I just watched a movie that was all about like jazz musicians and jazz bands, and I have a whole new appreciation for it, and yet I still don't know if I would turn it on, like, you know.
Right. Look for it.
Yeah,
Look
exactly.
for it
Exactly.
kind of thing.
But very cool. Patricia listens to books on tape.
Oh, Patricia, you're good. Okay, I have to tell you, I love to read, and for me, books on tape are not, I just lose interest in books on tape. I have to be able to hold a book. I don't even watch it like read a book on my, Kindle, and I don't have any of those kind of things. I have real hardbound books with pages. Because there's something for me about sitting and reading and going through the pages and stuff.
Absolutely. I'm that way with like magazines. Like
sure.
Vanity Fair, that kind of thing. Just flipping through the pages. But I'm an audiobook gal, like while I'm cleaning and tidying up.
Oh, there you go.
Headphones in, and that way I kind of, I feel like I'm learning something, but also being productive.
Doing a little something good. All right, now we're going to make triangle and a square block. Yeah. We've added these half rectangles. They've cut off the dog ears. Thank you, AccuQuilt. Woohoo. And we're going to stitch from here to here. We're going to press our seams open on this one, and then I'm going to do the other side. I'm really interested in hearing what people listen to. This is just great.
I know, right? Let's see. Gail likes country. Oh, Janice loved classical and the 60s. I love the 60s.
You have such an old soul, Emily.
Doo-wop. Oh my gosh, you should hear me on road trips, Pam. Like, people are just like, wait, how old are you?
What are you listening to?
Exactly. Let's see. Oh, yep, Nancy, 50s and 60s. Linda's more into the 70s and she says that pretty much gives away my age.
Yeah, there you go. So now I'm going to go here and sew on this side. And notice I press my seam open. The reason is otherwise you're going to get a ton of bulk. All right? The 70s, that's so funny.
Oh, yeah. Little disco, absolutely.
Yeah, I'm old enough to have lived during that time, so.
Oh my gosh. I love
think
that.
it's great.
My mom worked in New York during the days of Studio 54. Believe it or
Wow.
not. Yeah.
Wow.
That dates her, but she had a great, she
What a great job.
she would take clients there. She worked for magazines in New York City for years, and that was what they would do. It was so much fun. I have a lot of FOMO for what my mom used to do.
There you go. There you go. Look at how pretty this turned out.
Oh my gosh, how
I
cute.
love this block. I think this quilt is so pretty.
Yeah, the colors are just so much fun. Very perfect for springtime.
Right. And you could totally change up the color. We have this great program at AccuQuilt.com called Go Quilt.
Yes.
And you could totally change it up. You can use your own fabric. You can take pictures and upload it. Or we have fabric lines that are on there, all the things. It's just
and that's
great.
so handy because I feel like you can pick out those beautiful fabrics and yet, you know, you can't see it in your mind's eye until you really have them laid out on
Right.
Go Quilt.
I use Go Quilt often.
Me too.
Often. All right, here's my block. And don't forget, quilters, all of our videos live on our Facebook and YouTube channels. So if you need to go back and watch 1 or 7, you can. All right? Now, here our pieces are all laid out, and now I'm going to start sewing the rows. So while I sew the rows, Emily, will you tell our quilters about our blog?
Yeah, absolutely. We actually have a really great blog this week all about the new squares.
Yes.
Which is super fun. The blog is where our go-getters will come up with exclusive patterns that you can only find on the blog. They get so creative. I love, love, love seeing what they come up with all of our new, new dyes, what we've had existing. They just do such a great job. So yeah, it's a great place to get involved and, definitely a great place to check out some of our products and new ways to use them.
Yes. And the blog, I just think the blog is so fun because it just shows such variety. It's just not the same thing.
Yes.
All right, so now I'm going to do this. I always like to lay out my block to make sure that I sew it together correctly.
And what I love about our go-getters is that they all have such different aesthetics and styles and creative minds that, no matter what kind of quilt inspires you, there's something for you on the blog or in our patterns.
Well, yesterday's trunk show was a perfect example of that.
Yes.
Because we had all of these great all these great quilts that had, the 10-inch blocks and the 9-inch blocks and the 7-inch blocks. One of my favorites was with Drunkard's Path that Stephanie Jacobson from Steph Jacobson Design. She's here in Omaha. When it was made of grunge, so there you go. But it had 2 sizes of Drunkard's Path, which are probably part of that Save 35 sale.
They sure are, absolutely.
All right, now I'm gonna lay my pieces here. All right.
Yeah, and we have 3 sizes of Drunkard's Path too. So
Okay, can I guess?
Yeah.
3.5, 7, and 9.
Okay, 2 out of 3, 3.5, 4, and 7.
4. Huh.
Yeah.
All right. See, I 75% there. Okay.
Hey, you did it.
Now we're going to continue. I don't think that was really 75%, but that's okay. I don't do math. I know all the boys are going, Pam, that's like 66%. I'm going with 75 because I knew 2 of them, which is great. But so think about some of those really classic patterns or dyes like Drunkard's Path. Those are going to work great.
Ooh, Michelle's
Such
actually
inspiration. Go ahead.
So we're getting excited about grunge. Michelle's wondering what exactly is grunge.
Oh my word. Okay, so grunge is made by Moda, and it's a specialty fabric that is painted. And I don't know, do we have that quilt real handy, Brock, or is it put away? It's put away. Okay. It's okay. Google it. Google grunge. You won't be sorry.
It's pretty fun.
All right. Now that I have sewn my rows together, and when you're making the quilt, you're going to sew all of these units together and all of the triangle and a square units together and all of the square and a square units together. All right. Just have a whole big pile of them, lay them out, and then sew your rows together. So here's my big tip today. I'm going to press my rows in opposite directions. And the reason I'm going to do that is so that they nest. All right?
Love that.
So I think I'm going to start here. And I'm just going to press them away. I would use my really big iron to do this
Yes.
if I was doing this at home. Okay?
And I think when those were laid out before, I think one of the rows was upside down. But I think once
Did I fix
once we
it?
get them all laid out, I'm sure we'll be able to see
Holy
what that looks
smokes.
like. Yeah, that's what. There we go.
No, I sewed it wrong. Look at that. Good catch, whoever caught that.
Oh,
It's all right. We can pick that out.
we can fix that.
Look at that. See? Good catch, whoever caught that.
That's why we-
Emily, your job is to catch that kind of stuff. It's because I'm talking. And did I not say lay all your rows out?
You sure did.
Okay, watch this. Look how fast we can take this right out.
I love that.
We have a minute and a half extra to take out our...
Well, and while we do that, we can keep answering some questions.
Yes, and we can answer those.
Actually, Jackie was wondering what model Reba is. I have that in front of me. She's a Singer 362 Fashion Mate.
That sounds so fancy.
I'm so excited. Fashion Mate tells me I'm going to be making clothes out of this.
Yes. That is fun. And she is not a featherweight because I asked that.
Yes, she's not a featherweight. She's a hefty gal. I'll take pictures. Well, she's got a base that just like, it's a good 25 pounds, I swear.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, that was what was the first part about me resisting taking her home in the first place. I said, she's just a heavy gal. Gotcha.
Okay.
Anyway.
Okay. And
but
do we have
yeah,
other questions there?
We do.
'Cause I'm loving
Kathy-
the whole Reba story.
I know. Let's see. We have, Kathy has a great one about the go big. Does
Okay.
it turn itself off after setting idle for a little bit? Or
It does not.
Yep, you got to turn that off.
You got to turn that off. And in my effort to pull the string, or the thread, I pulled the wrong one, and now I'm going to sew this other one real quick. Yeah, you want to make sure you turn that off. And even if you go to fold it up, right? It's.
How do you know which way you're pressing when you do go to press, Pam?
How do I know which way experience. No, typically if I'm doing something that has a point, I'm going to press my seams open.
Sure.
And if I'm doing squares or rows, I'm going to press to one side so that they nest,
That makes sense.
if that makes sense.
That makes total
But
sense.
yeah, if I want to keep a good point, I want to make sure that I'm pressing my seams open.
Love that.
Which is what I'm going to do right now. And then I'm going to sew my block together correctly. Look at that.
I love it.
And the thing that is so easy about this, oh man, that was great, is like I say, you're just making the same blocks, and I think we only need 9 of them for the whole quilt.
Wow.
Right? So it's going to really go together quickly. And, you know, we're going to cut it faster because we're using AccuQuilt. And it's going to be
Exactly.
accurate. And now I'm going to finish putting my squares together. Here, my little units. All right. Do people have questions, Emily?
Well, actually, I think we've answered them for now.
Excellent.
But let's talk about some more music people
Let's
are
talk about our
into. Let's see. Oh, Jenny says my music is mostly from Disney movies.
Oh,
with
gosh.
Country and 60s, 70s. I love Disney movies.
How fun is that? Yes.
That is a great idea. Just sing along to all sorts of good old classic Disney
Yes.
songs. Ooh, Julia listens to classical like Bach, Beethoven, Mozart.
Julie,
Very relaxing.
good for you.
I love that. And then Barbara, metal and hard rock. Yes, girl, I love that. Just keep you in the
Doing here.
go 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 mode.
Listen, this is just so exciting today. You got to watch me try to figure out. There we go. Had a little thing there. I am not a heavy rock. Like I grew up, my brothers listened to heavy rock all the time,
Yeah.
and I am not. Okay.
What's your
Don't mind us. I don't know. We're just having this day of where I just have to do all the things here, so it's all right.
let's see.
This is real life. And you have to go through, I went through this morning and rewound it and tested it and the whole shebang. And look, I have my good contacts in so Justin doesn't have to come
Perfect.
and thread my needle.
Love that. Ooh, we have another question on the Go Big.
Okay.
Do you leave it plugged in all the time?
I can and do.
Okay.
The reason that I do is because honestly, I use it every day. And if I unplug it and then I go to turn it on, then I forget that I've unplugged it.
Sure.
And then I'm trying to figure out why it doesn't work.
Right.
It just becomes this process. I turn it off every night and then I do fold it up.
Oh, sure.
Okay.
Keep the dust from
I
collecting.
do fold it up so it doesn't get dusty and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, hold on. My machine should be better now. There it is. It just needed some love. But that's a great question. And don't forget that Go Big, $150 off today
It sure
as part
is.
of our March Machine Madness. But also, Emily, the Ready, Set, Go is also on sale, right?
It is, yeah, $150
And
off.
do you want to tell our folks what's in that Ready, Set, Go?
Yeah, the Ready, Set, Go is going to come with that Go fabric cutter with the hand crank. So it'll be the 8-inch cube.
Yes.
Along with the 2.5-inch, 2-inch finished strip die for your bindings, jelly rolls, etc. The cutting mat to go along with, and then I believe, isn't there?
A die pick.
And there's a die pick.
There is. There is. Look. And it has this great book by our good friend Eleanor Burns on how to use the cube system. It's just perfect. So if you're new to quilting, if you're new to AccuQuilt, and you're thinking, which cutter should I start with? This is the Ready, Set, Go is a great option to start with.
It really is, yeah.
And both of those cutters will ship free today.
Yes, they will. And you'll get double points.
And you'll get double reward points. Oh, it's a good day to buy a cutter.
Great day to buy, absolutely. It's a great day to upgrade. You get some dies on one order. You can get, your cutter
you
on
go.
the other, all the savings. And
All right, so now finally, ta-da. I'm going to finish sewing my block together. And then we're going to talk about the sashing that goes between the blocks and the squares. Because this is kind of, I have found, Emily, don't you think the last few times we talk about sashing more and more. I see it more and more in quilts.
yeah, it's getting to be a lot more popular.
Beginning to be a trend. And I think the reason is because quilters more and more are turning those blocks on point.
Yeah.
So you can use the new squares as setting squares, and then you can get our setting triangles to turn those blocks on point.
Absolutely.
We're going to talk about all of those things here before the end of the day.
Yes.
Thank you for whoever told us my block was wrong. Now we can fix
Gotta
it.
love- I know, they keep us honest.
I know, somebody should. We have all of this good help. All right, so while I'm sewing this last seam, what kind of music do people listen to?
Yes. Ooh, Vanessa listens to Motown and R&B.
Ah, there you go.
I love that. Motown's one of my favorite genres as well. Christina, classic rock, any decade.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
Ooh, Judy loves good old Southern gospel.
I would love to go to a quilting retreat with all of these people and just sit around and listen to the music they listen to.
I love this. Yes. I just want to go hang out with everyone and listen to music and quilt. This just sounds like so much fun.
It's just the good things.
Michelle agrees with you. So, Pam, or I guess it wasn't rock. She's not a fan of rap, mostly 70s, 80s.
Yeah, not so much rap.
And she loves Adele.
I do love Adele.
I love Adele. Her voice is just so beautiful.
I could listen to Adele all day.
Absolutely.
All right, so look, here's my block, and I would take my big iron and press it out, just like I did here. Okay, look at how fun that is. So now let's talk about the sashing between the blocks. So
Sure.
Emily, can you show folks where the sashing is behind you?
Yes,
You
so
see the sashing?
it kind of blends it because it's also the white fabric, but you can kind of see it between these two blocks.
Right, and it just has those little squares. And we actually used our 2-inch strip that finishes to 1.5 inches and shaped 2 from the 6-inch cube because those both cut 2 inches, right? And here is a sample of sashing, all right? I'm gonna move some of my dies here. All right, so this is a sample of the sashing that you would use. And I have found that you want to follow the instructions, because what you're going to do is add a stashing piece here and a stashing piece here. Ooh, I have another one. Look. Okay. And then once you do the sides, you're going to do this long piece with those 2 inches right here. Okay. And some of you are already saying, Pam, it's not the right size, but it will be once you take 1/4 of an inch off either side. Okay. So this is our first block. Now let's cut some squares and show you how the squares are going to fit in here, because they're going to be actually what we call setting squares, because we're going to turn those squares on point. And we're going to use our 9-inch setting, 9-inch finished. Sorry, this is where all the mats are.
And if you want to get that square, that 9-inch finished square right now, we still have the bundle marked down.
Oh, let's talk about those bundles real quick.
Yeah, so with our, with the 2 Go Big squares that we just released, the 10 and the 9-inch finished,
Right.
You're gonna get the die as well as the cutting mat for $99.98 for those 2. For these 2 smaller squares that are compatible with the Go cutter, the 7 and the 5-inch finished,
Right.
You're also gonna get the die with the cutting mat for $49.98.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay, so let's talk about this die real quick. This is our 9.5-inch square, and it is the 9.5 and 10.5 inch will only fit through our Go Big. All right, and the reason is because they're on these big 14 by 16 die boards. And some of you are going to say to me, well, Pam, you have a 10 by 10 die board. Why didn't we put the 9.5-inch square on the 10 by 10 die board? And the answer is we have to have more than 1/4 of an inch around the edge of every die board so that it cuts cleanly. And we like to have it at an angle, so as it goes through the cutter, it's just going to take 1 corner at a time. It's like going over a speed bump. If you hit a speed bump with both wheels, you get that jarring effect. But if you take it 1 at a time, it's going to go through so much easier. Okay, so the 9.5 and 10.5 inch are for the Go Big. If you have a machine that has a handle, you can't use these 2 dies, but you can upgrade today to that Go Big if you're looking to do that. Okay, all right, so let's show you where these squares sit, because this is super cool. All right, here is our squares. All right, and in the pattern, we're going to turn everything on point, right? So these squares are going to be on point as well. And then you would continue to use these. There would be one here. There's going to be another pattern here, and so forth. But the cool thing is you have this sashing, which is kind of fun. It kind of breaks up the block. Yeah. And remember, these big squares like this, you can see the quilting on it. You could do embroidery on it. You could do applique on it if you wanted to. You certainly could match the colors and do spring flowers, or you could do butterflies, or all sorts of things in that bigger square.
I love that idea.
Yeah, really fun, okay? Now, to finish the top, you need 9-inch setting triangles. All right, so Emily, will you turn around? Thank you again for being our little Vanna over there. Will you show us where the setting triangles are?
The setting triangles, yes.
On the top and the side. Yep.
So they're going to be right here.
Yep.
And then they're going to be up in the corner.
Yes.
Right here.
Yes. And they're going to go all the way down the side, right?
Yep,
so in this particular quilt, you're only going to need 2, 4. How many big squares are we going to need? I think just 4.
1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah.
And then you're going to use the rest as setting squares or setting triangles. Okay? And the reason we talk about setting triangles so much is because of the grain of the fabric. Cut on the lengthwise grain, otherwise your whole block is going to be all sorts of wonky. And when you go to quilt your quilt, it will also be wonky. So it's really important to have stability in your quilt with those setting triangles. All right. And our setting triangles we have some limited stock on those. If you're looking to get setting triangles, today is a really good day to get them because we're getting kind of low on our stock. All right, so now let's lay out our whole block here.
And I have an interesting question too while you're laying out everything, since you're laying everything out on point. Bonnie's wondering, since, you know, if a square on point is different than a square, how can these larger squares be then used on point?
Because we've cut on that lengthwise grain.
That's right.
Yeah. Yeah, look at, good questions today, folks.
Good questions, I love it.
I'm loving it, okay? And this is how we do it right here.
Yeah.
We're going to add that sashing, okay? And then we would extend our sashing here. Actually, I'm going to do that so you can see it. Because now I'm going to show you where the setting triangles live. Here are those setting triangles. All right. Oh, and then here's my corner one. Hold on. Oh, it has one string. Hang on. Don't ever rip them. Just cut the one string. Emily, while I'm cutting my one string here, tell me, what are people listening to?
Yes, Annette and I are totally on the same page. James Taylor is her first one. Coldplay, Cake,
There you go.
Train, Fleetwood Mac.
See, you guys could just totally hang out.
Those are, yeah, Annette, I'm coming to your place. We're kind of hanging out.
There we go.
Cindy, 50s, 60s, and early 70s rock.
There you go. All right, so look at how this totally came together. This is such a great and easy pattern to do. Again, you're only going to need 9 of these blocks. You're going to need 4 of the squares, and then do the setting triangles and the sashing. So you would continue to follow the pattern, so all the pieces together to create the quilt top. To finish the quilt, add batting between the top and the backing, pin or based, quilt is desired. Add that binding, making sure you miter your corners. A great spring project, it'll be wonderful. Now next week we have 2 live events. First, join Erica and me and Joy on Tuesday, March 22nd at 12 noon Central Time as we head to the barn for a bonanza. Then join me on Wednesday, and then join Eric and me on Friday, March 25th at 12 noon Central Time. Okay, this is going to be so fun. We're going to create a team of quilt blocks, and Erica and I are going to battle it out to see which block is the fan favorite. We have a referee and everything. Join us to be an AccuQuilt referee and weigh in on the winning block. Be sure to register for both events for the chance to win prizes, including that Spring into Quilt sweepstakes. All right, don't forget our promo today, 35% off dies and bundles, save 35. Emily, any other ones we want to mention while they're looking at them?
Well, we use the 6-inch block, the 6-inch cube, and the angles and the corners are all part of that sale today.
Excellent. Plus, if you spend $100 or more, we're going to give you an additional 10% off. And if you live in the contiguous U.S., we're going to ship it to you free. No code required. Your order of eligible items have to reach $100. And double reward points. Yes. All right, anything I forgot? We sewed our blocks together great today. We had such a good time. Anything else?
We did. I think we're great.
All right, do you have a winner for our, I wonder what size square our winner's going to choose. You'll have to let us know.
I will, absolutely. All right, we do have a winner. Drum roll, please. Congratulations, Dolores C. from Freehold, New York.
Congratulations, Dolores. Good job. Thanks for registering for our event. Be sure and let us know what size square you're going to get. I'll be anxious to see.
Yeah,
all right?
Fun.
All right, quilters, be sure to join us for next week's AccuQuilt Live. We are going to make a super fun table runner. It's really easy, and it's just in time for spring. Be sure and register for the event to be entered for the chance to win prizes. On behalf of our entire AccuQuilt team, we have Lauren and Morgan and Katie are off-site. Here in the Dream Studio, we have Justin, Brock, and Joe, and my good friend Emily. I am Pam Heller, reminding you at AccuQuilt, we help you cut time so you can quilt more. We'll see you next week.